That leads to contraction, doesn't it?
Hartlepool, though, is definitely here to stay. In most places, the sudden rise in jobless has created a study of unremitting gloom. But in this ravaged town, where nearly 10,000 are on the dole, that's a quarter of the population without a wage, there's a new vision, a vision of life that's totally changed, an example of post-industrial life with new opportunities.
The Hartlepool People Centre is one of a growing number of organisations in this old northeastern seaport that are being set up to enable individuals to make the best use of what has now become enforced leisure. In just over 2 years, a wide range of courses and facilities have come into being, attracting some 3,000 people. Hartlepool people have always been independent. Now, in a world without work, they've found a focus for activities which are varied and rewarding. The dole office is no longer the only major influence in their lives.
I found out about the Hartlepool People Centre when a friend suggested to my wife Pat, and she went down to keep fit, and a few weeks later I went down to see what the facilities were, and I stayed and I ended up doing winemaking and violin lessons. The centre's a great place to be able to go and just do things that you never thought you'd be able to do before. We use the creche facilities as a drop-in, so my wife and I can go shopping, or we can just go down there to the parent-toddler group and enjoy watching the kids play. Well, it's a release to be able to meet friends and do things. Well, otherwise you'd be stuck in the house, just generally lazing about. It's nice to, to know people are unemployed but still can socialise.
The creche started at the same time that the Hartlepool People organisation started, approximately 2.5 years ago. We have in excess of 100 children every week, and often in a term time, the number of children looked after, not necessarily those going in and out of the creche, but the number looked after tops over 1,000. Some will just use it as a drop-in centre, and it is a way of losing your little horror for 2 hours. But others use it as a social link. We have some single parents. We have some young mothers who seem to be cut off from their friends because they have a little child. So they use it for social gatherings, meet new friends, and often friendships develop. They often get involved in raising funds for specific events like parties or a float for the carnival or the Christmas festivities. So it's used for many different purposes by very many individuals. Really, we are a centre to be used by anybody in the community if they wish to contribute in any way, if they need a roof over their head, if they need a resource or some information. We hope that we find a way of channeling them. We can be likened, I suppose, to a switchboard. People come in with calls and we plug them into different things. Sometimes we can serve that need, other times we have to send them to other organisations. But we are whatever the people who come through the front doors want us to be. I am coordinating manager and general dog's body. It's a very exciting job, very busy, a great challenge, always changing. But initially I am the executive officer of Hartlepool People.
Hartlepool People.
And I control the centre. But I am not the only person. The volunteers within the centre also take on those duties. It's just I'm the lucky one that gets the wage.
Can I talk to you now, Chris? Oh, I've got a message for you. Joan picked phoned up this morning. She's the last from the county psychological.
We got a capital grant, which means we could purchase the roof over our head, or rather the lease for 7 years. We also had some money to do renovations in the building. It was quite run down, and for the public to use it safely, we had to have it rewired. The heating had to be corrected, and plumbing. We had to alter the toilets because of the number who were in and out. We would love to do things like put showers in for our gym classes. We are having 1 or 2 walls knocked down so that craft rooms can be expanded. But that is all the capital money will allow us to do. We have no money to paint, we have no money to refurbish or to re-equip. Our classes are expanding all the time and we don't have enough equipment to cater for those who come in through the front door.
Can you go over once again and explain how the scales are made up?
Major scales.
Please, yeah.
Right. It started off when I was first asked to join Hartlepool People as a 2-hour theory lesson once a week.
Use the scale of C.
But it soon developed into a lot more. I was a professional musician, and it seemed that there was a need for music tuition free, especially because music lessons are quite expensive. So I started a guitar lesson. People then wanted piano lessons. People then wanted to get together to play the individual instruments together. So we started a music workshop. And it's developed from there now to a recording studio.
In between C and D, if we now raise the scale of C to the scale of D, which is 1 tone higher, we do expect...
I'm a gas fitter by trade. Been unemployed now for 3 years. I get a lot of satisfaction from teaching music because I feel I can pass on some of my own skills to other people to enable them to use more of their leisure time. When there was a lot of work around, leisure time was a lot shorter. Now it's become sort of enforced leisure time and can be very boring. So centres like Hartlepool People are playing a very important role.
When I first came to Hartlepool People, I was just as a student, and I thought it was just a way of passing the time one morning a week. It is very easy to get caught up in not so much different activities, but the activities, you know, what you're interested in, which in my case was music. There was a need for a tutor to teach beginners guitar. I sort of fitted the bill at that time and took over that role. And from that into the studio. The things I'm hoping to do personally is to get into the engineering side of the studio. Studios are very expensive to hire, to use, to rent or whatever. So we thought we would try to run a one very, very cheaply.
Right, smashing lads, men of steel that time. We'll go from the top a bit later on. Give us a minute and we'll go through Don't Walk Away, right?
The atmosphere within Hartlepool People was very, very good. I think it would be wrong for a lot of people to get the impression that because the people down here think it's a good thing, that we're all ecstatically happy and wouldn't want to consider getting employment. I would like to earn a good wage again, you know, but in the meantime you've got to make the most of what you have got. And when it's nothing, it's really something to do during the day. It's a purpose to get out of bed in the morning, you know.
Right, lads, ready? Don't walk away from the top. Whenever you're ready.
Just a minute, Jeff.
Out of the music workshop, three lads got together, decided they had something in common musically, and decided to form a band. And that progressed to the stage where they managed to get onto the Enterprise Allowance Scheme. They're given £40 a week, regardless of how much work or how much money they earn in that week. And that's guaranteed for a year to enable them to set the business up. Now they've gone professional.
Good, Jeff.
That's Ian, John and Mick.
It started quite by accident, really. I was coming along to the People's Centre and John happened to come along. We just started to jam together and we realised that our voices were compatible, so we decided we'll try a few songs and everything worked out. Tony Kramer said it might be a good idea if we thought of going professional. Tony put us onto the Cleveland Cooperative Agency and a gentleman from there came along and listened to us practicing one day and he thought that, you know, it would be a good venture to start up as a company. So they actually sponsored us by giving us a loan to buy equipment and paid for us to start as a limited company. We were looking around for a drummer. We went to various places and one of the places was actually the job centre where we saw an advertisement by a drummer who was Michael advertising for a band.
I was in the house one day and John just phoned me up and he says, I've got a bit of a band together. He says, would you like to come down and have a try? And I just finished with the band then, so I came down and met John and Ian and we had a practice together. I've been unemployed since August 1983. Before that I was at college studying just absolutely anything. It was just more or less I think to keep the kids off the street, you know what I mean? Work experience schemes and things like that. If I hadn't joined the band, I would like to have done more of my own material. You know, I like to be creative in what I do.
I've been unemployed since November 84 when I finished Butlands. I was an entertainment red course. If I was honest, I tended to like the dole. I didn't do anything. I mean, I did